As of September 20th, 2025, the idea of a Chinese military base on Canadian soil remains pure fiction, a geopolitical ghost story that has captured imaginations but is not grounded in any credible evidence or official confirmation. No satellite images, government reports, or intelligence leaks have substantiated the claim. In fact, Canadian and American officials have repeatedly dismissed the notion as baseless, emphasizing that there is no sign of foreign military infrastructure in the Arctic. Yet, the rumor persists, fueled by anxieties over China's rapid rise and bold international moves. The world has watched as China expands its global influence, investing in infrastructure, technology, and military capabilities far beyond its borders. These developments have stoked fears in Western capitals, making even the most far-fetched scenarios seem possible to some. It thrives in an atmosphere of suspicion, where China's alleged election interference, cyber operations, and economic assertiveness make such speculation seem plausible. Political debates and media coverage amplify these concerns, blurring the line between legitimate caution and paranoia. This narrative is less about fact and more a barometer of trust, reflecting the West's declining confidence in Beijing's intentions. Diplomatic tensions and trade disputes only deepen the mistrust, making it easier for rumors to take root and spread. The rumor's power lies in its symbolism, exposing vulnerabilities in the US-Canada relationship and the strategic vacuum in the Arctic. It highlights the region's growing importance as melting ice opens new shipping routes and resource opportunities, drawing global attention and competition. It's a wake-up call, forcing a re-evaluation of North American security and the assumptions that have long underpinned it. The specter of foreign presence, even if imaginary, prompts renewed investment in surveillance, defense, and diplomatic engagement in the far north. The phantom base, though imaginary, compels the West to confront the realities of great power competition. It serves as a reminder that in an era of uncertainty, perception can be as powerful as reality, shaping policy, alliances, and the future of the Arctic itself. The Arctic has rapidly transformed into a new arena for global competition, where the stakes are higher than ever before. Once considered a remote and inhospitable expanse, the region is now drawing the attention of world powers eager to secure their interests. No longer a neglected frontier, the Arctic's melting ice is opening new shipping routes and exposing untapped resources, making it a focal point for geopolitical maneuvering. Canada's recent pledges to build a military base in Iqaluit and acquire missile-equipped icebreakers mark a late but significant response to Russian and Chinese activity. These moves signal a shift in Canadian defense priorities, as the nation seeks to assert sovereignty and protect its northern borders. The US, meanwhile, is intensifying its focus on Arctic surveillance and power projection, pressing Canada and other allies to increase their defense spending and modernize their capabilities. American policymakers view the Arctic as a critical frontier for both national security and global influence. China's approach is subtler, investing heavily in Arctic infrastructure and scientific research under the guise of commerce, while quietly laying the groundwork for future influence. Beijing's ambitions extend beyond economics, aiming to shape the rules and norms of Arctic governance. Russia's military buildup and joint patrols with China escalate tensions, while Canada scrambles to catch up. Moscow's aggressive posture is matched by its investment in new bases, icebreakers, and advanced weaponry, making the region a flashpoint for potential conflict. The region is now a chessboard of economic, military, and scientific moves, with each nation vying for advantage. The interplay of interests is complex, as environmental concerns collide with the pursuit of strategic dominance. The contest is about more than territory. It's about shaping the future security architecture of the Northern Hemisphere. Decisions made here will reverberate across the globe, influencing alliances, trade, and the balance of power for decades to come. The Arctic's strategic importance is undeniable, and as the ice recedes, the rules of engagement are being rewritten in real time, with profound consequences for the world's future. For over 60 years, NORAD has been the backbone of North American defense, built on deep US-Canada military integration. Originally designed to counter Soviet threats from the north, NORAD now faces new challenges: hypersonic missiles, advanced cruise weapons, and emerging powers like China. Canada's recent investment in over-the-horizon radar is an attempt to modernize, but the hypothetical of a Chinese base would represent a catastrophic breach. Such a scenario would shatter the assumption of North America as a secure fortress and force a fundamental reassessment of the US-Canada defense partnership. The legacy of NORAD demands renewed commitment and investment to meet today's complex threats. Continental security now hinges on adapting this historic alliance to a rapidly changing world. While a Chinese base in Canada is fiction, China's global military expansion is very real. The PLA has evolved from a regional force to a global actor, with its Djibouti base as a clear example. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China invests in strategic ports worldwide, creating dual-use facilities that could support military operations. The PLA's growing participation in peacekeeping, joint exercises, and intelligence gathering signals its global ambitions. Massive new command centers in China underscore its intent to operate on a worldwide scale. This methodical expansion explains why rumors of a Canadian base are so unsettling. They fit a broader pattern. China's strategy is patient and calculated, leveraging economic power for strategic gain. The West is still struggling to respond to the PLA's transformation into a global force. A Chinese military base in North America would be a geopolitical earthquake, sending shockwaves through the entire international system, upending security alliances and strategic priorities across continents. For the US, it would be the gravest homeland threat since the Cuban Missile Crisis, a moment of unprecedented danger, nullifying the Monroe Doctrine and shattering trust with Canada. Diplomatic ties would collapse, economic blockades would follow, and NORAD would be rendered obsolete, its mission fundamentally undermined. Globally, allies would be forced to choose sides in a rapidly polarizing world, and NATO's unity would be tested as never before in its history. For China, it would be a monumental victory, a bold demonstration of its ambitions, signaling its arrival as a true global power on the world stage, and directly challenging US dominance in a dramatic fashion. The shockwave would mark the end of the post-Cold War era, and usher in a new, unstable phase of superpower rivalry, with consequences that would echo for generations. Defense spending is a major source of US-Canada friction, intensified by President Trump's demands for Canada to meet NATO targets. Canada's defense budget lags, fueling US concerns about vulnerabilities in the Arctic and beyond. Trump's blunt approach links trade and security, pressuring Ottawa to boost military investment. Canadian leaders face a dilemma: modernize the military or prioritize domestic programs. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's pledge to fund Arctic defense by cutting foreign aid signals a shift toward US alignment. The hypothetical Chinese base scenario highlights the risks of underinvestment, making debates over budgets suddenly urgent. In a crisis, defense spending would surge reactively, too late for deterrence. Ultimately, these political battles are about risk, deterrence, and the continent's security. Even as fiction, the idea of a Chinese military base in North America is a jarring scenario, one that forces a fundamental rethink of the global order as we know it. The mere possibility challenges decades of assumptions about security, geography, and the reach of great powers. It compels leaders, strategists, and citizens alike to confront uncomfortable questions about the future balance of power. If such a base were ever realized, it would mark the end of uncontested US dominance in the Western Hemisphere. The world would shift toward a truly multipolar order, where direct confrontation between superpowers is not just possible, but likely. The rules of engagement, long taken for granted, would be rewritten overnight. Strategic stability would erode rapidly. The US, once the anchor of global security, might turn inward, focusing on homeland defense. Meanwhile, its allies, facing new uncertainties, would accelerate their own military buildups, seeking to fill the vacuum and protect their interests in a suddenly unpredictable world. The global economy would not escape unscathed. Rival blocs would emerge, each with their own supply chains, trade rules, and technological standards. Economic cooperation would give way to suspicion and competition as deglobalization trends intensify and nations scramble to secure critical resources and technology. The specter of such a base acts as a powerful catalyst for change, exposing outdated strategic assumptions and forcing a re-examination of long-held beliefs about deterrence and defense. Military planners would need to adapt quickly, discarding old doctrines in favor of new, more flexible strategies. Already, the mere discussion of this possibility has spurred renewed focus on Arctic security. Both Ottawa and Washington are holding urgent defense meetings, ramping up patrols, and investing in new technologies to protect the northern approaches. The Arctic, once seen as a distant frontier, is now a central theater in the contest for security. The world is entering a more dangerous and unpredictable phase. Western policymakers face a stark choice: act decisively now to reinforce alliances and deter aggression, or risk seeing fiction turn into a devastating reality. The stakes could not be higher. The challenge ahead is clear. Nations must invest in defense, adapt their strategies, and foster cooperation before a shocking scenario becomes an irreversible fact. The time to prepare is now, while the threat remains a warning and not a headline.